greetings to all humanity, and beware. We are about to resurrect from under the rock of obscurity a soundcopia of spoken word, comedy, and unique musical creations from the world of vinyl records. Harken back with us now to those benighted days when sound was recorded with the carving of an actual physical groove upon gleaming black discs that would become ephemeral forever. Those days have now returned with the Hidden Groove. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hidden Groove. And let's start off episode 5 with the most kick-ass president of all time, Theodore Roosevelt. On October 14th, 1912, during a campaign speech, President Roosevelt was shot in the chest by a .38 caliber gun. The bullet was slowed by his glasses case and 50-page speech inside his jacket pocket. So, it did not kill him. It did lodge in his chest muscle, though, so, he had a bullet in him. Despite this, he finished his speech, his 84-minute speech, before going to the hospital to have the bullet removed. A man who can talk for 84 minutes with a bullet in him really believes in what he's saying. Maybe we should listen. From the album Great American Speeches, I present selections from Theodore Roosevelt's 1906 muckraking speech. Yeah, you know that term? Muckraker? English and history majors usually do, and they're smug about it. Stoners also do, because the word was silly enough to wake them up from their smoky stupor in the middle of history class. Muckraker. Anyway, TR actually invented the word to describe journalists who seek only to scandalize and shock, as opposed to informing. The term stuck, like muck. The phrase yellow journalism was also born around this time, and I'm not going to explain that one to you. Look it up yourself. Now, I have listened to this whole speech several times, and I was mesmerized. It's fantastic. It's a really good speech. Now, however, I do have a nerd's tolerance for this stuff. Now, the speech is performed by the great character actor Ed Begley. Yes, Ed Begley Jr.'s dad. And it may sound to you a bit flat and stilted, but it needs to be, as that is the style that Roosevelt himself would have used in public speaking. They had no public speaker system in 1906, so a guy had to speak clearly, slowly, loudly, and he had to choose his words carefully to make the biggest impact and the clearest argument. And, folks would stand for hours listening to these guys speechify. And not just because the greatest generation's parents were, better people and hardier and stronger and sturdier. There was nothing else to do. There was no TV. There was no radio. There were very few magazines, mostly crappy newspapers, and just a few books the schoolmarm kept in the two-hole outhouse. So if someone was putting on a free show, you go, huh? Presidential candidates coming to town to give a speech? Hell yes, we're going. And it better be at least an hour and a half long. If I come all the way to town, I expect a proper long speech. Now also, any person who did actually have a genuine wish to be well informed about politics had so few ways to find out information about anything. So politicians always had big crowds for their speeches. And Teddy Roosevelt was always a crowd pleaser. So, let's do the highlights of the famous muckraking speech from the age when politicians actually said stuff that mattered. So hold on, it's going to sound a little clunky and dusty, but listen hard. I think you're really going to enjoy the novelty of a presidential candidate appealing to the people's better nature with an intelligent argument.
In Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress, you may recall the description of the man with the muckrake. The man who could look in no way but downward, with the muckrake in his hand, who was offered a celestial crown for his muckrake, but who would neither look up nor regard the crown he was offered, but continued to rake to himself the filth of the floor. In Pilgrim's Progress, the man with the muckrake is set forth as the example of him whose vision is fixed on carnal instead of on spiritual things. Yet he also typifies the man who in this life consistently refuses to see aught that is lofty and fixes his eyes with solemn intentness only on that which is vile and debasing. Now it is very necessary that we should not flinch from seeing what is vile and debasing. There is filth on the floor, and it must be scraped up with the muck rake. And there are times and places where this service is the most needed of all the services that can be performed. But the man who never does anything else, who never thinks or speaks or writes, save of his feats with the muck rake, speedily becomes not a help to society, not an incitement to good, but one of the most potent forces for evil. There are in the body politic, economic, and social many and grave evils, and there is urgent necessity for the sternest war upon them. There should be relentless exposure of and attack upon every evil man, whether politician or businessman, every evil practice, whether in politics, in business, or in social life. I hail as a benefactor every writer or speaker, every man who on the platform or in book, magazine, or newspaper, with merciless severity makes such attack, provided always that he in his turn remembers that the attack is of use only if it is absolutely truthful. The liar is no whit better than the thief, and if his mendacity takes the form of slander, he may be worse than most thieves. It puts a premium upon knavery untruthfully to attack an honest man, or even with hysterical exaggeration to assail a bad man with untruth. An epidemic of indiscriminate assault upon character does not good, but very great harm. The soul of every scoundrel is gladdened whenever an honest man is assailed, or even when a scoundrel is untruthfully assailed.
The soul of every scoundrel is gladdened whenever an honest man is assailed. Gosh, I wonder what it's like to live in a world like that. Teddy goes on to explain what he thinks will happen to people when they get served too much mental muck.
If the whole picture is painted black, there remains no hue whereby to single out the rascals for distinction from their fellows. Such painting finally induces a kind of moral color blindness, and people affected by it come to the conclusion that no man is really black and no man really white, but they are all gray. In other words, they neither believe in the truth of the attack nor in the honesty of the man who is attacked. They grow as suspicious of the accusation as of the offense. It becomes well nigh hopeless to stir them either to wrath against wrongdoing or to enthusiasm for what is right. And such a mental attitude in the public gives hope to every knave and is the despair of honest men.
It becomes well nigh hopeless to stir them either to wrath against wrongdoing or to enthusiasm for what is right. Oh, man, that line hit way too close to home for me. It hurt my soul to hear it in my ears. But this next part, it salved my guilty wound. Now, it's hard to make an argument against capitalist success without sounding like a commie, pinko, liberal, snowflake, hippie, socialist, libtard. In our apple pie capitalist state, people only get rich through good ideas that are well executed, brains, and hard work. Right? Actually, no. And here's how Brother Teddy puts it.
It is important to this people to grapple with the problems connected with the amassing of enormous fortunes and the use of those fortunes, both corporate and individual, in business. We should discriminate in the sharpest way between fortunes well won and fortunes ill won, between those gained as an incident to performing great services to the community as a whole and those gained in evil fashion by keeping just within the limits of mere law honesty. Of course, no amount of charity in spending such fortunes in any way compensates for misconduct in making them. As a matter of personal conviction, and without pretending to discuss the details or formulate the system, I feel that we shall ultimately have to consider the adoption of some such scheme as that of a progressive tax on all fortunes beyond a certain amount, either given in life or devised or bequeathed upon death to any individual. A tax so framed as to put it out of the power of the owner of one of these enormous fortunes to hand on more than a certain amount to any one individual.
That's not just taxing the rich. That's taking all the rich people's money from them. All of it. But also, in that section, he says something that has even more impact to all of us living here in the age of Trump. And that's when he repudiates the American oligarchs for, quote, keeping just within the limits of mere law honesty, unquote. In other words, just because it's legal doesn't make it right. Now, after hearing that, I was going to launch into a bucket full of snappy repartee and rival jocularities, mocking the connection between the 1% and corrupt politicians. And then Teddy said this.
There is nothing more distressing to every good patriot, to every good American, than the hard, scoffing spirit which treats the allegation of dishonesty in a public man as a cause for laughter. Such laughter is worse than the crackling of thorns under a pot, for it denotes not merely the vacant mind, but the heart in which high emotions have been choked before they could grow to fruition.
Okay. I'm sorry, I wanted to make fun of the fact our entire electoral system is a planetary joke. Man, well, I'm a little bummed out. It's hard to feel better about stuff when you can't make jokes about it. Man, I sure wish I had something, I don't know, something like a Rod McKuen song about, I don't know, monkeys and loving. And I do! Ha! You know, kids, nothing washes away the bad taste of a broken social contract more than Rod McKuen. That's right. Whenever Teddy Roosevelt's big stick gets you down, try a little Rod.
We'll go out into the noon to find what love there is to find. An angel on the bedpost or a demon in the mind. And we'll be happy as we were before the monkeys came and put the flowers into pots and gave love sinful names. When apple trees were apple trees and not the curse of man, and all the mountains piled high were only heaps of sand. There were no yellow roses then, the roses all were red, and lovers slept on grassy banks and never knew a bed. We'll go out into the noon and try to be the same, the way we were a while ago before the monkeys came. when every street was Eden Street, and man our only name. That was oh so long ago, before the monkeys came. We'll go out into the noon to find what love there is to find. An angel on the bedpost or a demon in the mine. And we'll be happy as we were before the monkeys came and put the flowers into pots and gave love sinful names. That was oh so long ago, before the monkeys came.
From the world of monkeys putting plants in pots, we turn to career counseling for little kids by Ed McMahon. Yes, the Ed McMahon from the Johnny Carson Show has a record album about helping kids choose a career called What Do You Want to Be When You Grow Up? The entire reason I do this podcast is so I can say sentences like, in 1967, Ed McMahon cut an album for little kids about career choices. And then I play that shit and blow your freaking mind because this track is nuts. Dig it!
There are lots of other things to be when you grow up. So let's not decide yet. Let's push the magic button and find out from the magic sound machine what it would be like to be... Well, let's see now. How about a lady veterinarian? Oh, I'm sure you all know she's a doctor for animals. So let's find out what being a lady veterinarian in a zoo is like. Let's push the magic button. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Mr. Curator. Is everybody well today here at the zoo?
Oh, we've got a couple of patients for you, as usual. There's one of them. Gumdrop the elephant. I don't know what's wrong with her.
Well, I'll soon find out. Will you open her pen for me, please?
Here you are. Now, while you're in there with her, just be careful she doesn't step on your toe. You know how heavy she is.
I also know that elephants are very careful not to step on anything except the ground. Hello, Gumdrop. Steady. Steady, girl. Now, what seems to be the trouble? You're pointing your trunk at your head. Why? Does it hurt? Oh, I see, it does. You have a headache. Well, that's simple to cure. I brought along my bag of medicine, and one of the biggest things in it, the size of a baseball, is this pill for you. Now, open your mouth wide. Wider. That's it. I'll push the pill in. There we are. That's a good girl. Yes, I know, Gumdrop. You're feeling better already, aren't you? Well, I'll be back later to see that you're all better.
Well, thank you, Doctor.
Now, who's the next patient, Mr. Curator?
It's Snooks, our youngest chimpanzee.
Oh, dear. What's wrong with Snooks?
Come right this way and I'll show you. Look, Simba the lion is saying hello. He's never forgotten the day he was stung by that wasp and you made the pain go away.
Hello, Simba.
And here we are. Here's where Snooks lives.
What is it, Snooks? What's the matter? Ah, so that's it.
Yes, Doctor. I just don't know how he manages to get a splinter in his finger.
Well, I'll fix that up in no time. Mind if I come in, Snooks? That's the boy. Here, sit in my lap and hold very still so that I can use these tweezers. Hold it. There, the splinter's out. Just a minute, Snooks, just a minute now. Let me put this little bandage on the finger. There. Now, in a few days, you'll be all better. Oh, Oh, such a big kiss. You're welcome, Snooks. See you in a few days.
Well, that's all for today, Doctor. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Curator. I always enjoy paying a call at the zoo and seeing my dearest friends.
Yes, you can be a lady veterinarian, shoving huge pills at wherever the elephant points, putting a Band-Aid on a monkey's finger, and letting Dick Van Patten condescend to you all day long. A lady veterinarian? You think she wears an evening dress to the snake house? Holy cats. I mean, the more you learn about the culture of our forefathers, the more you understand why women got so pissed off. But hey, I want all the women out there listening to know that I support you in your quest for equal rights and equal representation, if that's what it takes to get me laid. And I mean that. Here's the Smothers Brothers, getting silly.
Play magic fingers. There once was a man who was none too good, and then I'd say he's none too bad. Times he is mighty good for a spell, and times he go out and he raise a little hell. Mediocre Fred. Mediocre Fred. Fred went to work from 8 to 5, and he punched a clock to show his alive. Went to church every Sunday morning. Sometimes he wondered why he was born. Mediocre Fred. Mediocre dull Fred. Fred went to the movies every Saturday night, liked to watch TV and the Western fights, and he paid his taxes most every year, and on a hot summer day, why, he drank a little beer. Exciting, Mediocre Fred. Mediocre Fred. Well, the days went by all dull and gray, and he didn't think much and had little to say, and when the full moon rose, he'd climb over the moat, find some people sleeping, and he'd bite their throats. Mediocre Fred. Mediocre, dull Fred.
The Kama Sutra is not just an easy way to circumvent your parents' child locks on your computer to look at pornography. It's also a guide to love, courtship, and sex, marriage, and even fighting with your beloved. Say, check this out. It's Side 2, Track 6 of The Art of Love, the Kama Sutra, read by Saeed Jaffrey, and the passage is entitled Love Quarrels.
We shall now speak of love quarrels. A woman who is very much in love with a man cannot bear to hear the name of her rival mentioned, or to have any conversation regarding her, or to be addressed by her name through mistake. If such takes place, a great quarrel arises, and the woman cries, becomes angry, tosses her hair about, strikes her lover, falls from her bed or seat, and casting aside her garlands and ornaments, throws herself down on the ground. At this time, the lover should attempt to reconcile her with conciliatory words, and should take her up carefully and place her on his bed. But she, not replying to his questions, and with increased anger, should bend down his head by pulling his hair, and having kicked him once, twice, or thrice on his arms, head, bosom, or back, should then proceed to the door of her room. Scholars say that she should then sit angrily near the door and shed tears, but should not go out, because she would be found fault with for going away. After a time, when she thinks that the conciliatory words and actions of her lover have reached their utmost, she should embrace him, talking to him with harsh and reproachful words, but at the same time showing a loving desire for sexual union.
That was written about 1,800 years ago, give or take a couple centuries. And I have to say that learning how to fight may be the most important skill in a long, successful marriage, along with every other skill. Lots to think about. Hey, as a musical companion to this ancient poem, I now present a famous chaotic couple, the Bunkers, Archie and Edith, singing a medley of classic songs of Western civilization. Television is the Kama Sutra of the West.
Oh, Archie, it's so nice to see you in such a good mood.
Wait a minute. Don't make it sound like a miracle. I'm usually in a good mood.
Well, there are times.
Hey. Here's a little number that tells the whole story of how I feel, Edith. Sometimes I'm happy.
Think good thoughts, Archie.
Sometimes I'm blue.
Only once in a while.
My
I'll
disposition
do everything I can to keep your spirits
depends
up.
on you.
Really? But as dear Abby says,
I never
you gotta work these
mark
things
the
out
rain
in your own
from the
mind.
skies. If I can find the sun in your eyes.
Oh, Archie.
Sometimes I love you.
Oh, that's nice.
But sometimes I hate you.
That ain't nice.
So when I hate you,
Yeah?
it's only 'cause I love you.
Oh.
That's how I am. So what can I do? I'm happy when I'm with you.
I may be wrong, but I think you're wonderful.
Oh, you got the right
I
idea
may be
there.
wrong,
Just
but
stay with it.
I think you're swell.
Bingo.
I like your style, say. I think
no
it's
waste to the next
marvelous. I'm always wrong, so
No, you're on
how
target every
can
now
I
and then.
tell? All of your shirts are unsightly. All of your ties
You
are
like
a
my
crime.
style. Why the hell are you not
If
in my
dear
habit
and you
there?
I picked rightly, it's the very
Say
first
something
time
good, and then the next breath you kick it right in the
you
head.
came along. Say,
Lord,
I
what am I,
think
a
you're
puss?
wonderful. I think you're grand, but I may be wrong.
When I get older, losing my hair, many years from now,
I'll still be your girl.
will you still be sending me a Valentine?
Candy.
Birthday greetings, bottle of wine.
brandy.
If I've been out to 2:45, would you lock the door?
No, I'll let you in.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Sure, Archie.
I could be handy mending a fuse when your lights are gone.
Through stormy weather, dear.
You can knit a sweater by the fireside.
Just for you.
Sunday evenings go for a ride.
To dinner?
You in the garden, digging the weeds. Who could ask for more?
We'll be together, dear.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Of course, Archie.
Social Security, here I come.
It's a wonderful world. We're just walking on air. Talk of heaven on earth. We've got more than our share. Haven't got a care.
Oh, happy all day through.
It's a wonderful world. Loving wonderful you. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful world.
I'm just walking on air.
When you talk about heaven right here on earth, I've got more than I share.
We haven't got us a care.
We're happy all the day through. It's a wonderful world.
Loving wonderful you. Get a hold of yourself, Edith.
That's from the 1973 release, Archie and Edith Side by Side. And even though it's a publicity gimmick album, I think they do a great job. That's Carol O'Connor and Gene Stapleton, two amazing performers, both with buku IMDb listings. They're just kicking ass as a singing bunkers. They're musically sound, and they sound like the Bunkers. I caught myself just sort of enjoying the performances of the actors and those unique characterizations. You hear those voices, and automatically you see an entire genre of 1970s television flash before your eyes. And since some voices do have power, let's harness that for good. Because however it is where you're listening, here at the secret studios of the Hidden Groove, it's wintertime, and that means it's cold, wet, and gray as hell. Because trust me, hell is not red hot. It's gray. A kind of heavy gray that seems to swallow all light and heat. And that means it's time to play some Dylan Thomas. Why? Well, because he's Dylan Thomas. This is the man himself in 1951 reading his own poem, Do Not Go Gentle in That Good Night. And you know what? You need to go get a copy of this poem, put it in your hand, go outside in your front yard, all Dead Poets Society. In fact, go steal a desk. Go to a public school and steal a desk from a crippled kid, get that desk, stick it in your yard, get on top of it and hold that one poem in your hand and hold your fist up with the other and declaim it. Dylan Thomas! Brother Thomas, tell us what to do when the night comes.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death, who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
And now, the French.
Pierrot, qui n'a rien d'un cli tendre, vide un flacon sans plus attendre et pratique entame un pâté. Cassandre, au fond de l'avenue, verse une larme méconnue sur son neveu déshérité. Ce faquin d'arlequin combine l'enlèvement de Colombine et pirouette 4 fois. Colombine rêve, surprise, de sentir un cœur dans la brise et d'entendre en son cœur des voix.
And now, America.
To the lovely Juanita Beasley.
tempestuous one, I am your slave. For behold, I love you all. Your eyes, your hair, your hands, your ears, your tooth, your everything. Come, fly away with me. Let us sing, let us dance, let us play at youthful games and fill the night air with youthful laughter ere the spring cometh. Hey, nani, nani. I am weak, I faint, I fail, for verily I am as a drooping daffodil. I cry your mercy, pity, love. Give me all. It is too much. Thy kiss, nay, nay, it is more than a kiss. It is a bite at my heart. Ah, beloved, how can I tell you of my love? Hark! Hear my heart. Here it stands 'neath the jasmine branches, waiting in despair. Oh, the rapture, if thou would but gaze on it. Alas, oh, unreturned love, 'tis done. Prithee, my beloved, kiss me ere I perish.
That was Dylan Thomas reading Dylan Thomas, Jean Villard reading a poem about clowns by Verlaine, and American favorite Andy Griffith trying to get that wild native from down at the diner to give him a chance. Okay, so I had this next album in my collection for years before I listened to it just 3 days before recording this. And now I have a total hidden groove crush on Judy Henske. You'll hear her voice in a couple seconds if you don't know her. She was a folk singer from the early to late 60s and a couple albums in the 2Ks. She was best known, though, as a beatnik queen, and she hung out with Lenny Bruce and performed with Woody Allen. She's said to be a source of the title character from Annie Hall. Judy Henske was everywhere in the 60s. Even if you do not know her name, it is safe to say she influenced at least one of your favorite musicians. This is Side 1, Track 5 from her self-titled album. So much fun.
This is a little children's song that comes from the red light district of Chicago. Where back in the old days, they used to use children for various and sundry purposes. One of them being as spies, for when the police came by, the little children would act as little warning agents to the people in the bordellos, which is not an Italian dessert, by the way, telling them that the police were coming by so that the people could stop doing whatever they were doing that was like against the law and start doing straight things like playing poker or reading comic books or, chewing gum, anything to make them look like they're busy. Some were painting little designs on the backs of turtles and stuff like that. They just start doing anything that they wanted to do, which looked like it was a straight occupation. It was really weird seeing all these women painting turtles, though. They'd go in and come on, what are they doing there in the negligee painting a turtle? But anyhow, it served to convince the police that nothing was really going wrong. The name of this is Hookatuka Soda Cracker. Does your mama chaw tobacco, they would sing. If your mama chaw tobacco, Hookatuka Soda Cracker. A code, obviously, but nevertheless a really bitchin' little song, and I hope that you'll like it a lot. Okay? That's just a slang expression. Meaning, It's a hell of a good song. Took my soul to crackle. Well, does your mama chaw tobacco? If your mama chaw tobacco, say, hook took my soul to crackle. Hook took my soul to crackle. Well, does your mama sound like a bunch of little kids out in front of a whorehouse in Chicago. That's what you're supposed to sound. Green, green, rocky road, I say. Green, green, rocky road again. Green, green, rocky road. Promenade in green. Tell me who you love, who you love. I say, promenade in green. See that crow up in the sky, Lord. He don't walk, no, he just fly. He don't crawl, he don't run. I say, keep on a flapping to the sun. Hook took my soul to crack. My soul to crackle.
Ooh, man, ain't nothing gonna top that. That was Miss Judy Henske with the Hookah Tuka song. And let's call it a show. Folks, this has been episode 5 of The Hidden Groove. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you in the morning, Andy.
If your mama chaw tobacco, say, hookah took my soul to crackle. It's very good. You sound like a bunch of little kids out in front of a whorehouse in Chicago. That's what you're supposed to sound.